Good morning, gamers. Welcome back. So, while we didn't have a game last week, or this last Sunday, my players are still in Barovia. So we're still going to look at the undead. There's something just a little bit different on it. Seems kind of fun. I'll just get into it. I am the AMDM Lee. This is my cup of coffee. And you're watching How Do You Want to Brew This? Ooh, that is hot today. Ooh. Alright, so I found this thing. They can be fun to play. To a point. This would actually be an interesting thing, say... How do I go about this? So let me just show you what it is. And then talk about some of my ideas with it. So again, I'm going through the home brew on D&D Beyond, and today I come across this, the Ghost Familiar. Armor class 12, 2 hit points, resistance to all this stuff. This was created by Man Bear Wins. So, the Ghost Familiar is an alternate familiar for necromancers and other characters with an affinity for the dead. The Ghost Familiar is the soul of a creature who had a strong bond with a wizard when it was alive, and is now bound to the character in death. By casting Find Familiar, the wizard imparts upon the creature additional powers included in the stat block. These abilities override the abilities described in the Find Familiar spell. So, some of the abilities that are created on this Ghost Familiar, you have the incorporeal movement. The Ghost Familiar can move through other creatures, objects, things along that nature. The Ferocious Familiar, when the Ghost Familiar takes a action, the wizard can forego theirs and allow the ghost to do their attack, which is a Withering Touch. When the ghost drops to 0, it's banished to the ethereal plane rather than being destroyed. And you can cast the Find Familiar to get it back. Haunted Wizard. Anytime the Ghost Familiar can permanently end its bond. So either the ghost or the wizard can end the bond of their connection. Well, if the parting is not amicable, perhaps because the wizard mistreated the Ghost Familiar continues to haunt the wizard after the bond is broken until it feels the personal relationship has been repaired. While haunting the wizard, the familiar is immune to all damage and will use its powers to pester, annoy, and otherwise interfere with its former master. When the haunting ends, the wizard may use a Find Familiar to create a bond between the wizard and the Ghost Familiar, otherwise, to recreate the bond. Otherwise, the Ghost Familiar's journey in this world will be over and it will move on to the next. They have telepathy with each other. So, let's see, within 100 feet they can communicate telepathically. The wizard can see through the Ghost Familiar's eyes and hear what it hears until the start of the wizard's next turn. Spell delivery. When the Ghost Familiar's wizard casts a spell with the range of touch, the Ghost Familiar can do it. So it's basically like, it's very similar to the other. If it requires an attack roll, use the Wizard's attack modifier. Ethereal plane from the material plane. Invisibility. Poltergeist. Animal possession. And then their special ability, animal possession, is very cool. And then their withering touch, which is, I'm not going to read all of this. I mean, I'll go slow. You can pause it. You can see what it says. I am definitely adding this to my collection. I'm definitely voting this up, because this is very, very cool. Now, here is what I would do with it. I would offer this up to one of my party members. If you have either a cleric of the grave or someone who has an affinity for the dead, necromancing wizard, actually I would not a cleric of the grave, but like a necromancer wizard, or somebody who has, you know, this type of thing, and your players were agreeable to it. If you're in a certain level in your game and you have a player death, it happens. But if your players are up for it, why doesn't the dead player come back as familiar come back as a ghost? Pick a player. It doesn't necessarily have to be a wizard. Pick any player and connect them to this character. Preferably somebody who has either divine magic or arcane magic. That way the spell spot will be useful. But this way that the player, the dead character, can still be a part of the party, still be useful, without having to introduce a new character. I think this would be a fun thing to play out. I would probably have to go the hit points. That might have to change. But can you imagine how your dynamics would change in the game? I think it would be a blast to have that happen. And I'm going to use this as an offering if one of my players dies in the game I'm running, specifically the Curse of Strahd. This may be an option. One of them may end up with a ghost familiar. And I would have to let the guy play the ghost. It wouldn't be like he would be playing a new character. He'd still be playing his old character, but now he is, or she, or they or them, are now connected. They are now connected to one of the other players in the party, and there's not a lot you can do, but I think it would be a brilliant idea. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think this would be a good thing to run, or something to put in there? Do you think it could be fun? Do you think it's kind of stupid? That's for you to decide. I kind of like it. And that is all I have for today. If you like these videos, please click on the like button. If you think someone else would like them, please click on the share button. Every like's an inspiration, every share is an advantage, and every subscription is an experience point. Help me gain 300 experience points so I can get to 2nd level. And for every video that you share, for today only, the AMDM does hereby authorize you to gain 12 experience points. Next week it'll be back to normal, but today we're doing 12. For every video, just tell your DM the AMDM said so. That's all I got for now, guys. I will be painting some more of that today. That's all I got for now. Go forth and roll some dice.